Hello everybody, today we are going to be doing something a bit different. So, as of recently, I've completed Dragon Slayer 2, and with the completion of that quest, you will unlock a new boss as well as a few other new features as well. So, the boss in question is Vorkath. During the Dragon Slayer 2 quest, you actually kill Vorkath once you go to the Frozen Island and in the Frem area. You kill him, and then you go off and get the Dragon Key piece, yada yada yada, straightforward stuff. After you've done the quest, you can actually go back to the island and kill Vorkath again. Now, obviously, he's going to be a bit stronger than last time, and, if you're like me, maybe wondering, well, how do I kill him now? I'm a noob. I don't know how to do this. I don't have the greatest gear. I'm not experienced enough. If you're like me, this is my first kill, so, maybe, confused, like, what do I bring? What's my inventory setup? What's the best gear? Do I need this? Do I need that? Well, I will explain to you in a nutshell what you should at minimum have. So, for the first part, we are going to go to our bank here. We're going to deposit our items if I haven't already. All right. Now, the first thing you will need by far, and this is probably the most annoying thing excluding the other thing, is a Salve EI, and I guess I might as well take it out. You need Void Range. Now, it is recommended that you have Void Elite, but if you're like me and you're lazy to do the die raise, normal Void will be fine as it is. So, a Salve amulet is acquired after completing the Haunted Mine quest. What it does is that when you get the Salve Ami, you can go off stream and all that, and what it does is that it gives you a 15% increase to damage and accuracy through melee against undead. When you go through Torn's lair, or if you have a Slayer ring and you go to his lair directly and kill him, you'll be given a book, and you can use your Salve Amis on the book, which increases it from 15% to 20% extra damage through melee. Now, once you've done that, you can go to Nightmare Zone, and you can go off and grind out 800,000 points, and once you do that, you can take your Salve Ami and imbue it, and rather than just doing 20% extra damage through melee against undead, it does 20% extra damage and gives you an accuracy bonus against undead through all styles, so melee, range, and magic. Now, the wonderful thing about Vorkath is that, one, he counts as a blue dragon, so if you're on a Slayer task, you can do that and bring a Slayer helmet. It's not recommended unless you don't have full Void, then by all means. But he's also undead, so that's why you need the EI version, because if you're going to use range, it's going to be a huge DPS increase, and it's going to shorten your times and length and how long the kill will be. You can use melee. If you're really, really advanced, you might have a Dragon Hunter Lance or a Zamorakian Hasta. Whatever works for you. I'm using range because I don't know how to use melee right now, and this is my first kill. And I'm going to go off and see, what I like. I prefer range right now, despite my range level not being 90 plus. It's at 88. It'll work. So, these are the 5 things you need minimum. Obviously, full Void and a Salve EI. Now, we're going to go to our range tab. You will also need an Ava's accumulator. I'm assuming you have an accumulator, not an attractor. A Rune crossbow, unless you have a amulet crossbow, a Dragon Hunter crossbow if you've done raids, or even a just standard dragon crossbow in general. You will need Zamorak D'hide boots, and if you're like me, you might not have an archer's ring. Well, that's fine. You can just bring a ring of dueling. It's not a huge issue. You can bring a ring of wealth, I would suppose. It would empty out the empty drop table and the rare drop table, but then again, you'd also increase your chance of getting gems, so you don't want to do that. For bolts, you're going to need Dragon Bolts Enchanted for Ruby or Diamond, unless you don't have those yet. So for the time being, you'll be using Diamond Bolts E and Ruby Bolts E. These are adamant bolts with Ruby and Diamond tips that are enchanted. What the Diamond Bolts do is that I believe they have like an 11% chance of doing armor piercing damage, which pierces through someone's armor. It's similar to Varrox, except with like a lower chance. And Ruby Bolts E do percentage damage based off of the enemy's health. So since Vorkath has a health point level of 750, if you land a Ruby Bolt spec immediately, you'll do 100 damage flat. And once he goes below about 40 to 30% HP, you'll switch to Diamond Bolt, as using the Ruby Bolt spec won't do as much damage. So we will equip all that. Oh, and don't forget, you'll need an Anti-Dragonshield. You can use a DFS, but that lowers your range accuracy bonus. You could use a Skeletal Wyvern, Wyvern Shield. I can't recall its name. Or you can use the Dragonfire Ward. But then again, if you're killing Vorkath for the first time, you probably don't have that, especially if you're an Ironman. So The best alternative for now is what I have as an Anti-Dragonshield. It could be worse. So, we're going to go and bring the following. 3 super restores, an anti-fire potion, a ranging potion, and if you're like me, you don't have Antivenom, you can bring a super anti-poison. It's not the greatest alternative, but if you're done the kill and you're venomed, you can drink 2 doses and you can remove your both the venom and the poison. It's not the greatest, but it works. You're also going to need runes for Crumble Undead. So 1 Chaos, 2 Earth, and 2 Air runes. So I would suggest bringing a decent chunk of those. So we're going to bring 40, 40, and then we're going to bring 20. This is when Vorkath spawns his little crawly thingy, and if you don't use Crumble Undead and it hits you, it does the amount of damage based on how much health it has left, I do believe. So I believe it has 38 HP, so that's going to hurt a lot. And if you're a hardcore Ironman, you don't want to get hit for much, because if you're not careful, you will get comboed and you will die. So, blam, blam, blam. Again, if you're like me, you don't have the Frem boots for, you can bring a Rellekka teleport tab, which is completely fine. And that's pretty much it. And then you could go off and stock up on food. Depending on your fishing level and cooking level, you might have anglers, sharks, carom wands, depending if you've done type of water trio, or monkfish. Any of these work. I would suggest sharks plus, because you can get comboed out pretty easily. And maybe bring a few carom wands if you're a bit scared of getting comboed out. It would help you a lot. If you really want to, you can bring Brews. There's no shame in that. I'm actually going to bring a brew with me because I'm newbie. And I'm going to fill my inventory with sharks. So, to recap, 3 super restores. You don't have to bring 3. You can bring 2. I'm going to bring 3 for this case. A Star Brew is not needed, but I'm going to bring 1. A ranging potion, an anti-fire potion. You can bring an extended fire or a super extended anti-fire, depends on what your level is. A super anti-poison if you don't have anti-venom. It doesn't really matter what anti-poison you bring, so long as you can cure your venom and your poison so you don't die. Food. Diamond bolts for your ruby bolt switch and back and forth, and then runes for Crumble Undead. That's the bare minimum you really need, alright? As for gear wise, you can upgrade it. You can have Elite Void, a different crossbow, Ranger boots, and if not Begasians, if you have access to Cerberus, an Archer's Ring imbued or a standard Archer Ring. You might even bring like a Ring of Suffering if you really want to for the defense and prayer bonus. Me, I don't have any of those, so I'm going to bring a Ring of Dueling for a quick teleport out, just in case if I panic, because if you do die at Vorkath, you can go back there and reclaim your items for 100k. I'd rather not do that if possible. Saves time and money. So, this is the current gear setup. It's not the greatest, but you know what? We're noobs. We'll get over it. Okay, so you use your Rellekka teleport tab and you go to Torfren. You go to Travel. And he will take you to Vorkath. So we will run all the way up here, and I can't recall if this is instanced. I would believe so, since there's a collect fee when you die. But before you go in, or after you go in, I'm going to climb over and give, yes, I wanted to crack, blah, 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 poke. Okay, so, again, I've never killed Vorkath. I didn't know you can actually poke him to wake him up. But then again, he is undead. He might be, sleeping, or he's just dead again anyways. So I'm going to brew. It increases your defense bonus. Super restore. Range potion, anti-fire. Don't use this because if you get venom immediately, it will not absorb the venom. You'll be venom instantly, so it's a waste. Quick prayers should be range. I use protect item just for shits and giggles, and eagle eye or rigor depending on your prayer level. You might even use Hawkeye, but at that point, why the fuck is your prayer so low? And you'll poke him. Now, before you poke him, I'm going to turn off my prayers right quick. Vorkath will do the following. He'll do 6 normal attacks, and then he'll do a special attack. He might go off and shoot a fireball in the air, and it will land where you were originally standing. Move. Right? I cannot stress this enough. If you don't move, it will probably insta-kill you, because its max hit is 115, and if you aren't anglered or you aren't brewed above that, you will probably instantly be killed. And you need to move more than 2 squares away. If you were beside it, it'll only do half damage, but that's still roughly within the 60s. That's not good at all. So, you're going to want to move away, and for the most part, you don't want to need to have run energy on. It's not bad, but it's certainly not good. Now, his second special attack is when he spits out acid everywhere, and he will launch fireballs on you, and you have to continue moving. And if you stand still for 1 game tick, you will take a fuck ton of damage. I think it's like 40 or below. and you will die really, really quickly. Like, I would say less than a second, you'll be from max health to 0. So you can move back and forth. If you're really skilled and you have a blowpipe, because I don't, I'm horrible at Zulrah, you can Luke's walk. I'm not going to get into details with that because I'm not skilled enough to do that, but pretty much what you do is when he launches the fireballs, you're just going to move back and forth, and since your character has an animation delay, you will walk back and forth and you will take no damage. Make sure you click before he reaches the tile, or she in this case, depending on what you are. You will make sure that you don't reach the tile before you click on another tile, because if I were to go off, click this tile, and then stop and then go back, I'd be hit there. So you gotta go back and forth until he's done. There's also another ability where he shoots out a pink flame where it just disables your prayers. If you have quick prayers, just put it back up. Again, it's recommended pray range because since you have a high magic defense bonus, praying range is the best alternative besides praying magic, because you're gonna get hit a lot with range. So I'm rambling. We're gonna go poke this thing. Wake up. He's a mad boy. So. Fourth attack. Fifth attack. See, that's a sixth attack. So. And you need to cast Crumble Undead on that. Don't do what I did. Alright, when he does that, you need to stop attacking Vorkath because otherwise you'll be too delayed. That's where he disables your prayers. Just do quick prayers and put them back up. And this is the attack I was talking about. So just do what I do, walk back and forth. Again, if you're not careful, you will take damage. There you go. Shoot him again. Get up. Make sure you don't die. That's his venom attack. You will be poisoned if you don't have antivenoms, which is not fun. So far, my ruby bolts have not hit, so it's kind of annoying. Kind of hoping they would hit at least once. Move away from that attack. Cast Crumble Undead on that thing. It's also recommended to turn off Auto Retaliate, which I did not do. Disable your prayers, turn them back on. Careful of that attack, you will not want to die from that, it is not fun. And once again, walk back and forth. While he's doing this, I recommend eating food. I'm going to remove my venom, because I don't want that on me. Venom does not get cured automatically just by waiting. Again, animation delay, you do not want that to happen. And then we go Ruby Bolt for a 97. Put the bird back up. Food, gotta restore. Do what I just did. There we go. Urban Gold spec for 78, not bad. One of those. So I'm gonna go off and oh no, we're gonna walk back and forth again. And if you're not a noob like me, you can probably do this much better, but you know, it's all about learning. Fire is about to wear off, I drank the wrong potion. Okay, at this point I'm going to switch to Diamond Bolt's E, where I'm not going to die, hopefully. Move away from that. You do need to be paying attention, otherwise you will get killed and it's not fun. I'm going to attack Vorkath, spawn, shoot. I'm going to disable my venom. So, Vorkath is a pain in the ass, I'll tell you that right now. He is not very fun. I would definitely recommend a blowpipe for this, if not 90 plus range. We're gonna walk back and forth. Get some food. Could definitely probably walk off another groupie cold spec, but again, it's about 40 to 30% remaining of his health. It's not recommended. Move away from that. Prayers. Nope. Don't attack Vorkath. Crumble undead in the spawn. I'm going to drink up my brew, as I am low health. Move away. And is it the kill? There we go. Again, you can do a lot better than I did, but still, first kill, 5 minutes. That's certainly bad, but loot is decent, so we're gonna price check this. So, you know, 90k per kill roughly, and you can repoke Vorkath if you really want to. I would not recommend it, especially if you have nothing in your inventory. And again, if you don't have a Sears ring or anything, that's good. You have a dueling ring, go to Clan Wars, run to the portal, get out a Rellekka tap, re-gear, and then go back. So that's pretty much the gist of Vorkath. Again, not the greatest. I would recommend 90 plus range. I'd also recommend rigor if you have access to that. Otherwise, you know, it's going to be a bit tedious. I'd also recommend having a better crossbow and better gear in general. Elite Void, maybe Ranger Boots if you want to grind out medium clue scrolls. An Archer's Ring imbued would also help to increase your accuracy bonus. But in general, Void and the Salve amulet EI is what you need, because the 30% increase for damage and accuracy against Vorkath is heavily needed, alright? If you don't have full Void, and for some reason you don't have a Salve amulet EI, if you're on task for Blue Dragons, you can bring your Slayer helmet, and it has to be imbued for the range bonus to be used, otherwise you'll be using melee with it. It's not the greatest idea, but you know what? It could be worse. That's pretty much it. This is a newbie guide. It's horrible, but you know what? We're noobs. We need someone to teach us as well.